Welcome to Mineral Springs Park in Pekin, Illinois for the 1992 Illinois High School Association Class AA Softball Championship game. Hello everyone, I'm Ann Penstone, and along with me is Hall of Fame pitcher and coach of Illinois Central College, Lori Ramsey. And Lori, the two teams in tonight's game, Morris and Moline, haven't been scored on. Something's got to change.
Well, it's sort of the offense of Morris, and they're very aggressive with the bat against the outstanding defense of Moline. Both teams have good pitching.
Now, Moline's been here 5 times before. In fact, they won in 87 and 88, so they're going for the hat trick. Morris is making their first trip a very memorable one. Let's show our viewers where they're from. Moline, you see, is in Rock Island. They're from the Western Big Six, where Class A champion Rock Island Islandman is from, a large school, and as you see, they've won 2 titles. Morris making their first trip out of Grundy County over the Joliet-Kankakee area, and they're the smallest team in the tournament. Earlier today, Lori had a chance to talk with both coaches, and Bob Seitz of Moline had a lot to say about his team's great defense.
Well, I guess just goes in a lot of hard effort and work during the winter months. Kids play starting in March, real tough in the gym, and we stress defensive skills all along. But we think we have some good athletes, and it always helps to have good athletes when you're playing defense. And we just feel right now that Julie's location helps our defense. If she has good pitching location, then our defense has an idea of where they need to sit to get the ball. So that's a big help too, is Julie's location on her pitches.
John Mackinson of Morris is really attached to the special team that he has down here, and he talked about their aggressiveness at the plate.
Well, we feel like the key to our success is just to get up and go to the plate and look for the base hit. We're not up there looking for a walk. We're not up there looking for anything else. We're looking to get up there and hit the ball. And that's been something that's been real good to us all year, and that's something that we've tried to stay with throughout the tournament.
Lori, I know your favorite subject's pitching. What about these two pitchers?
They're similar in one way in that they both throw out of a windmill windup and they throw the ball hard. They're very different in the fact that Julie Dusterhouse is more of a location or a control pitcher, keeps the ball down, throws the low out curve or the drop as her ace pitch. By contrast, Joy Battersby is more of a rise ball pitcher. She throws the ball a little bit harder, doesn't quite have the control that Dusterhouse has. So it'll be interesting to see if location can beat speed.
Well, there you have it. We'll be back with the lineups right after this. Look at the beautiful shot of the moon from Mineral Springs Park in Pekin, Illinois, where we're back just ready to get underway in the Class A championship game. The lights are on. Lori Ramsey is along with me. I'm Ann Penstone, and the umpires are meeting with the coaches right now. And just before the home team, which will be Morris, will take the field, and Moline will come up to bat. You look at the fence out the side there. It's 200 feet all the way around, and the fans are out there enjoying this gorgeous evening. There is not a hint of a wind, so all the power is going to have to be provided by the hitters at this IHSA state final. Now let's show you the lineup and the batting order for Moline. Starting off, Katie Ballman, who is an outstanding leadoff hitter. She's had 3 hits already. At third base, Sheila Van Gotham and Diane Grau, their leading hitter, but had a tough tournament so far. She's bound to come out. Missy Kaiser at second base is Renee Blentlinger. In left, Carrie DeClerc. At first base, Stacy Dreesens. The designated hitter hitting for the pitcher is Amy DeWitt. And the center fielder is Brandy Bevans. Pitching for Morris is Joy Battersby. Look at that ERA. In 29 games, she has had quite a record. Struggled a little bit this afternoon. As she said by her own admission, that was the most walks she'd ever given up in a single game.
You know, she never lost her poise, though, when she walked those 2 batters. Her expression didn't change. She didn't get excited.
The umpires for tonight's contest at home plate will be Joe Thompson. At first base, Steve Johnson. Second base, John Edwards. At third base, Rich Bartlett. In left, Rich Reeks. And in right field, Dennis Mulhern. And this is their claim to fame also, as they have to work hard to get a spot downstate as well. Battersby and her opponent, Dusterhouse, both pitched this afternoon in the semifinals, though Battersby's had a little bit more rest playing in the first game, right?
Right. In softball, you can go two games in a day or even 3 games in a day, and a lot of these young ladies play in the summer where they play tournaments, where they play 3-day tournaments and pitch 6 or 7 games in 3 days. So they should be able to pitch at near peak tonight, even though this is their second game.
It is an absolutely perfect evening. There's no wind. It's about 75 degrees. It was a hot day this afternoon, and they list the winds at 8 to 10, but the flag out in center field isn't even moving. Skies are clear, and there's a beautiful full moon.
And there's a beautiful full house, too, and it's nice to see a nice crowd like this at Mineral Springs Park.
And we're all set for the first pitch as you look at the first batter, Katie BALLMAN, who's just been a terror on the base paths, hitting .344, and she's been on base with 3 hits so far in the tournament, and she has been a key. Look at how the infield is playing way in, expecting a possibility of bunts. We're underway, and that ball is strike one. So Battersby's got to feel good about getting that first one over, as she had a little bit of trouble late in the semifinal game. 0-2 to BALLMAN. And now you'll notice that she bunts left and she bats right. So with 2 strikes, and if she fouled that off, she would be out. She comes over to the other side and she'll look to hit. That's a common way to be a slap hitter in softball. A lot of them are converted from right-handers to left-handers. Makes contact, going foul, still in play, but unable to be rounded up by Shelly Dickison. Hanging tough in there, count still 0-2. Notice how shallow the outfield's playing BALLMAN. They don't expect her to hit the ball very deep. They fear her speed more than anything else. In a game that's a pitcher's duel, 1 run could be all they get. That ball tipped and fouled straight back. The left fielder is almost over behind the shortstop. A ball pulled down the left field line would be a double or triple for sure. Tries the off-speed pitch, bounces it in front of the plate, picked up quickly, and yes, throws her out. And a nice play by Jen SIRON, who is the quarterback of this team, from behind the plate. So out 2-3 if you're scoring. And we're underway. As you look at Jen SIRON, she has an ACT score of 28. And she calls the whole game, says Coach Mackinson. Very bright young lady, and so is Joy Battersby, who has an ACT of 30. And this battery kind of refutes the fact that pop fly to the shortstop. It was Van Gotham flying out to KARI Anderson, the shortstop. This battery and the whole infield for Morris, which averages a 28 ACT, just shows that education and athletics do go hand in hand. And that's going to bring up Diane Grau, as you see that great batting average she's carried throughout the season. .432 with the right fielder from Moline. 2 outs on the board right now. Battersby winds up, and a little bit late now to the park. 0-1. So Battersby's really gotten the ball down in the strike zone, and the batters have been hanging tough, but are still off the base paths. There'll be a lot of fouls down the right field line if Battersby's on. She throws the ball as fast as 62 miles an hour, and that's been timed on the jugs gun. To give our viewers perspective, that's from 40 feet is the distance she's throwing from. That's like a baseball pitcher throwing about 92. So we're looking at a Nolan Ryan fastball. Straight up to Anderson. Anderson quickly up with it and over to Amy Bruman, and they go down 1, 2, and 3. So after the top half of the first inning, there were no hits. 3 batters came to the place, and we're all at zeros. We'll be back right after this. Morris will be coming up in the bottom half of the first. They're the home team. As you look at Moline and the pitcher, the lineups for Morris. Leading off, ERIN HICKEY, who came in with an incredible .722 batting average, but has yet to hit in the tournament, so look for her to get on. KARI Anderson is the shortstop. Joy Battersby, the pitcher, has hit Jen SIRON, the catcher. Amy Nelson at third. Shelly Dickison, the right fielder. Amy Kookman, who had a game-winning RBI in the semis, is in left. Lori Anderson DHing for the center fielder, and Amy Bruman on the bag at first. As you look at Julie Dusterhouse and her ERA of 67, look at the strikeouts to base on balls ratio, and you can tell why Moline is in the finals. And she's earned that in a very tough conference, the Big Six, Western Big Six conference with Rock Island Alleman, last weekend's Class A state champions, East Moline, a team that played for the championship last year, and teams of similar skill. There goes the bunt by Hickey, fielded quickly and safe. So Hickey is finally on. She's got to feel like the drought. What a time to break it. Right. She beats out the bunt and the throw from Sheila Van Gotham.
This is a good bunter's park because the ground in front of home plate is soft. You can bunt the ball and it'll die, and that's exactly what happened when Hickey put it down. Ball dies there. Excellent play, but she just outran the ball. There aren't many players that'll do that, but she was one that did.
KARI Anderson
Another
puts down
excellent bunt.
KARI puts it down successfully, and so we've advanced the runner on the sacrifice by Anderson, and we've got our first scoring threat with Hickey out at second.
Sheila Van Gotham, the third baseman for Moline, has made several excellent plays in this tournament, and she made 2 good plays on those bunts.
She'll be going to play for the Northern Illinois Huskies next year. Her father's assistant coach.
Right, I'm sure he's helped her a lot.
And that brings up Joy Battersby, who's had the stick as well as been the pitching threat. And takes ball 1.
Dusterhouse went low and outside to Battersby, and I think she'll try and stay down on her. Again, low and outside.
Battersby was one of the few hitters that was pulling the ball this afternoon. She had a rocket in the semifinal game today.
She's got real quick hands, doesn't take a real long swing.
She puts down the bunt, going to try to, and Van Gotham again, and out on the quick play Van Gotham, but moving to third is Hickey. So now a pass ball or wild pitch becomes an issue.
Right. And up to the plate is Jen Siron, and she has been a very productive hitter in this tournament. Very productive. She's a girl that will move the ball. She's not going to strike out on many occasions.
Her coach says she's almost into the science of hitting.
I guess her father's helped her a lot, and he's done a lot of softball coaching with hitters.
Well, there are 2 outs. We're the bottom of the first. Catcher Siron up to bat with Hickey on third, the first threat of the game.
The outfield's dropped back a little bit deeper for Siron.
Strike 1 called in the outside corner. They're really keeping that ball off the plate.
Low and down, that's her spot, and they're calling the pitches from the bench for Moline.
Dusterhouse goes upstairs on that one, evens the count at 1-1. These teams were supposed to play earlier in the year in May, but were rained out, so what a time to do the makeup game.
The coach just moved the shortstop over to third a little bit.
Good catch by the fans, and one of the Moline supporters out there made a nice catch of that line drive. And the count goes 1-2 to Siron.
Moline really plays their defense based upon where Julie Dusterhouse is going to pitch the ball. And when she's supposed to pitch it low and out, that's exactly where it goes, or high and in.
Tried to punch it out. Jen Siron trying to go with the pitch, which is definitely being pitched outside to her.
One of the things I've noticed about these high school batters, they don't crowd the plate when that pitcher throws 3 or 4 outside pitches. They stay right back off of it, and I think they could help themselves by getting in on the plate a little more.
And there's our first hit, right center. It's going to go to the fence as Siron goes on for 2. The ball goes under the fence. The outfielder raised their hands, and it's going to be a stand-up double and an RBI for Jen Siron as Hickey getting on proves to be the key we talked about earlier.
Well, she's gotten several key hits for him in this tournament, and Dusterhouse got the ball in over the plate a little more than her other pitches and got it up. I think we'll see that. Inside on the plate and up high, and Siron hits the ball very well in that location. We've had several balls roll under the fence in this tournament, so this isn't, the first time, and it's debatable whether she would have gotten a triple, but there was a good chance that she would have.
That's going to bring up Amy Nelson with Siron on second. Amy batting .286.
Back down.
Strike 1. So both Dusterhouse and Battersby are staying ahead of the hitters.
They're playing Amy Nelson about the same depth they did Jen Siron. They respect her power also.
They're straight away.
Down and out, you can just about take it to the bank, but that's where she's going to throw that pitch.
And the count goes 0-2 to Nelson as you see Siron out on second after RBI double. Contact, right back to Dusterhouse, who easily throws her out. There was 2 hits. Hickey had the bunt single and then brought in by Siron, and we have a run across the plate right now. After 1, it's 1-0 Morris. Moline Maroons road to the finals. You can see they had an easy time early, and then when they came against East Moline, who's in their conference, a tough game, and Elgin, a very good team out in the western suburbs, and then blanked everybody after that.
Well, Elgin was their toughest game. They were down 4-0 in the sectional. They took Dusterhouse out and brought in a sophomore, Sandy Littig, and came back and won the game 5-4. I don't care what kind of team you have, somewhere along the tournament trail there's a key game, and for Moline, the Elgin game was the key game.
Well, Moline's proved that they've come from behind, and they're going to need to right now as they come up with Missy Kaiser, the junior catcher, who's hitting 382. She's the cleanup hitter.
Kaiser, like Siron, the other catcher, is a very good hitter.
And they're both batting cleanup, so it can't be accidental. Ball 1, counts 1-0. That's the first time that Battersby has led off behind a batter, but we're early in the game. Now that raised ball goes up and it counts 1-1.
One thing Coach Mackinson said about his team before the game was that they had great chemistry for each other, and I think that carries you a long way.
Short pop-up goes to Anderson, and she fields it by herself for out number 1. We're in the top half of the second inning in the Class A State Championship softball game. Bringing to bat is Renee Blentlinger. She's a senior, and she's the second baseman.
Morris plays their defense for every batter to hit late. Their third baseman's well off the line.
That one is going to be in the hole to right center as Moline gets on the board. Going quickly to second is Blentlinger, and she's going to be held there as out to field is second baseman ERIN Hickey. So that's our first scoring threat for Moline. So right after being behind, they come right back with 1 out and threaten themselves.
Both of these teams have played such a tough schedule that 1 run's not going to rattle them. There's the hit again, taking the outside pitch right where it was pitched to right center field. You'll see the relay throw, which was a little bit low and fumbled by Hickey, but they stopped Blentlinger there with only 1 out. We're not going to take too many chances.
While we were on the replay, there was an appeal play at first base. They threw the ball over the first baseman, Roman, to ask whether or not she had touched the base. Called safe, so evidently she did, and we have a pinch runner. That is number 10 for Moline, and that is Jenny Pierce running for Blentlinger.
You know, Ann, a lot of coaches will designate their bench players to watch the runners, and they'll give them some little reward if they can catch somebody missing the base in the game when they appeal.
And up to bat is KARI DeClerc, and takes strike 1 from Battersby. DeClerc is a junior, hitting 389, and she has a chance to add to her RBI titles. Fouled straight back, 0-2.
Battersby's really throwing the ball hard now.
Pitching with the lead, but there is a threat. She had a lot of threats that she had to get out of this afternoon, so we know she can handle that.
Both these pitchers are very calm under pressure.
Tries the off-speed. Count goes 1-2.
She does not have a great off-speed pitch, and the last place you want to throw it is up high, and she just threw it a little too high for the hitter.
Jenny Pierce looking to tie this game up if she can get around, but just going down on strikes is DeClerc swinging for the first strikeout of the ball game, and these are 2 good pitchers, so you got an idea what kind of offense these 2 teams have. They make contact on the ball. 2 down, and that brings up Stacy Dreesens, the first baseman,
who has had an outstanding defensive tournament.
She'd like to pick up the other half of her game right now and bring home Pierce as she takes strike 1. Morris leading 1-0, top half of the second.
That left field line's wide open again and they're pitching her outside, I believe.
Whoa, yep. And just as you called it, she tried and almost hit one of our cameramen. Woke him up.
If she can take that outside pitch down the left field side of the third baseman just moved over and the left fielder took 2 steps over, so be a little tougher now.
Counts 0-2, and there are 2 down. Ball gets away, and quickly down to third is Pierce. No throw as she's in there safely, so the pinch runner has a benefit as she quickly gets over there.
Pierce took a big lead on every pitch, and that's, of course, what you want your runner on second base to do. It's very difficult for the catcher to pick anybody off at second base.
Siren, an excellent catcher, and there's not a lot of distance behind the plate as she catches her breath. They're 60 feet away from being tied up, and Dreesens would like to make it a little bit easier by making contact. She goes down swinging for the second strikeout in the inning, and Battersby once again gets herself out of trouble and strands 1 runner. So we're still Moline's ahead, 1-0, and going into bottom half of 2. Morris's road to the finals. As you can see, they came up around the Kankakee area and knocked off #1 ranked all year Lockport, and then ended up beating Belleville West. Look at all the shutouts on their way.
That's why she has a .30 ERA.
And leading off for Morris in the bottom half of 2 is Shelly Dixon. Shelly Dickinson, a .350 hitter, the right fielder, who had a very nice catch earlier today to save a run. And takes ball 1. A little bit low.
Dusterhouse just barely missing. She doesn't look like she's throwing the ball right now quite as hard as she did earlier today.
It was only a couple hours ago that she threw that game. It was about 90 degrees out here, and the sun was baking all the fans, and no way for the players to get away from it either. So it's got to have taken a little bit of something on them, but it's very nice. It's cooling off nicely here. Ball chopped out in front of the plate, and Dusterhouse, by gloving it, actually knocked it away. And safely arriving at first is Shelly Dixon, and we've got a threat already. Dusterhouse upset with herself.
Dusterhouse is normally a very good fielder. And like a lot of pitchers, when she came off, I think she did not look at the ball. She was thinking about maybe throwing before she had the ball.
See her whack herself with her glove as she was upset. Now we got the high pitch to avoid the bunt. Amy Cookman, the freshman, who had the game-winning RBI with a sacrifice fly earlier today, is up to bat with her teammate Dixon on first. No outs. Goes to bunt.
Dusterhouse is doing something that's uncharacteristic of her, and that's not throwing just strikes all the time. Her coach, Bob Seitz, said he told her there were 3 main things in pitching: location, location, and location.
There's a good location bunt for Cookman as she sacrifices over to second and almost got a hit out of it as she laid that dead bunt right in front of the plate, but Siren picked it up. I'm sorry, Kaiser picked it up and nailed her at first. But advanced Dixon to second, so another threat, and bringing up to bat is Lori Anderson, the designated hitter.
You can see the intensity in her face there. All these young ladies really concentrate well, I think, in these games.
This is the 8th batter in the Morris lineup. Dusterhouse winds back. Strike 1, says umpire Joe Thompson. So Dusterhouse quickly goes ahead.
The outfield deep for Anderson.
And straight away. Goes after the bunt. Foul tips it. Strike 2. 0-2.
Moline's a very difficult team to bunt on, with Van Gotham at third, who just has made play after play in this tournament.
They went after her right away, but she's like a vacuum cleaner over there.
She certainly is.
And they get Anderson trying to decide while she swung the bat, and she goes down swinging for strikeout #1 for Dusterhouse.
She saw that ball up in her eyes, and she wanted to lay off of it and just couldn't do it.
So it comes down to Amy Vroman, the first baseman, makes contact and fouls it right into her own dugout.
Vroman's another high ACT girl with a 27. This is like the college boards out there with Morris.
For those of you unfamiliar, the shortstop is also, that's KARI Anderson, has a 34. 36 is perfect.
That's right. She's probably in about the top 1/2 of 1% of the nation in taking the ACT test.
Well, Vroman's almost like a second leadoff hitter batting at the end of the lineup. And she's had some success with the bat here in the tournament. Oh, that ball, I'm not sure if it hit her or the bat. The umpire says it hit her, and she's going to get a free pass to first base. Hit by the pitch.
I thought it bounced off her helmet.
It hit something, but obviously it was her.
We'll take a look at it here.
Well,
Yep, right off the helmet. I guess that's the reason we wear those.
Well, you and I, when we played, we didn't, and I'm trying to figure out why not.
We were on a low-budget roll in those days, I think. Here comes Miss Speed Demon to the plate.
Well, ERIN Hickey ended her drought, and she brought across the only run so far in the contest, and she's back up again after singling on a bunt in the first inning. Puts it down again with runners on first and second. They go, and safe because the ball was not able to be grabbed by the second baseman, and coming home while all the melee is going on is Dixon. And now time is being called as first baseman Stacy Dreesens is laying on the ground in some pain. Meanwhile, we have had a run score and a runner advance to third. I believe there was a collision.
Hickey I think, ran over her foot, and it looks like it's her knee. And, you know, there's nothing more frightening than a knee injury.
Well, we've got good medical personnel here, and we know they'll take good care of her, so we won't speculate at what it is, but we know she'll be well taken care of. All the people that volunteer to make this tournament go, a lot of people don't realize how many people it takes to run a tournament, and most of the people here associated with Pekin High School have been doing it for all 17 years of the tournament.
They've not only been doing it for all 17 years of the tournament, this was at one time the ASA softball capital of the Midwest, and I think these people have a lot of softball experience. That's why the tournament runs as smoothly as it does. Dusterhouse is looking the situation over and probably wondering if anything good's going to happen to her, because she's gotten some tough breaks out there tonight.
That was called an error on the third baseman to get Hickey down there on the throw.
It was a questionable throw, but Dreesens has caught that throw on other occasions in this tournament. I think the collision knocked her off the ball a little bit. We'll see Hickey going down the line quickly. Van Gotham makes the throw and steps on Dreesen's foot, stepped on her heel, and it looks like it should be her heel, but I guess it affected her knee. Second baseman Renee Blentlinger is moved over to first base and is warming up with the new second baseman as Coach Seitz talks with umpire Joe Thompson on who he's going to instill at second base.
And that's Tammy DeWitt coming into the ball game at second.
DeWitt's been used as a pinch hitter in this tournament, and she's one of two DeWitts on Moline, Amy DeWitt being the other one.
Oh, we were in error through this whole thing. That was the second baseman who'd come over to cover on the throw, so that was not Dreesens that was hurt, but rather Renee Blentlinger, who exited.
Oh.
So Dreesens remains in the ball game. We apologize for that, and DeWitt comes in at second base to take over for Blentlinger, who was injured on the play, as Anderson waits patiently up to bat.
Anderson, another very quick runner, a left-hander, capable of bunting. And she did what good hitters do, followed the ball all the way into the catcher's glove. Many of these hitters tend to lose the ball by not looking at the ball as it passes them.
And strike one. Count goes to 1-1 as down to second base goes Hickey. So runners on second and third with 2 outs. A run did come home on the injury. And KARI Anderson is at bat with a 1-1 count. Strike 2. Dusterhouse showing great composure, coming right back and getting right ahead of the batter.
Anderson turned around and is now going to hit.
That ball is going to go out of play as quickly Dreesen tries to catch up to it. And you saw that Hickey set a state record for stolen bases, so she's the kind of kid you don't want to put on.
And what was that state record?
68.
Can you imagine?
You have to get on a lot of times just to be able to steal that many.
We're not talking about a 162 game schedule like the big leagues either.
Now the maximum games you can play is 35 games in 25 days. So that's about 2 steals per game. Counts 2-2 and there are 2 outs and there are 2 runners on. Ball just a little bit low, count goes full.
Anderson batting out of a closed stance. And Dusterhouse pitching her outside. Should be a situation where she hits the ball to the right side.
Tries the off speed and a little bit outside as Dusterhouse shakes her head as she issues her first free ball.
Just about her first free one in this tournament.
She's been such a control pitcher, that is very unusual. The bases are jammed, and coming up is the pitcher looking to help her own cause, Joy Battersby.
And Battersby is not one you want to see up in a situation where the bases are loaded. She's a very good contact hitter and runs well, unlike a lot of pitchers who don't run well.
Well, we know Coach Seitz talked about defense, and this is exactly where they need to come through with it and hold this down to just 1 and come back and hit.
Dusterhouse came up with the first pitch.
Battersby the last time up was thrown out third base to first on a ground ball.
The outfield very deep, particularly in center field for Battersby.
Nice pitch, 0-2.
Over the outside corner.
So the 2 pitchers facing each other here right now.
Julie Dusterhouse lives on that outside corner.
Tries to get her to go for the high one, but no dice.
Just the old automatic waste pitch with 2 strikes.
Contacted, but nicely done as she has all tournament. Katie Ballman comes up with the sure hands. There were no hits, but there were 3 runners left on and 1 error. And after 2, it's 2-0 Morris. Only 2 teams end their season with a win, and one of them plays in the 3rd and 4th place game. In 4th place is Belleville West. They won the IHSA AA volleyball tournament this year, and Springfield ends their season with a win, winning the Class AA and carrying the trophy home with a fine performance as the lead up to this game.
This is the first time for Springfield in the Elite 8 and the Final 4, so I'm sure they're very happy with their showing in this tournament.
A lot of fans were drawn to them. They were a lot of fun to watch.
They sure were. They had a lot of running speed and kind of an exciting pitcher in Toya Clay.
And the only left-handed pitcher in the tournament.
That's correct.
We have a conference in the mound as Morris talks about how to hold their 2-run lead and gives Battersby a little bit of good luck and says, we'll help you out. And she'll be facing right now the number 8 batter in the lineup, Amy DeWitt.
You know, Morris had 30 wins these last 3 years, and this is the first time they've made it to the tournament. For all those players out there that have been close and never gotten here, here's a team that was close and finally did get here. So it proves if you stay in there, you're going to get here one of these days.
0-2 to DeWitt. Well, we talk about the Molines who have been here 5 different times, and the teams that are out there that are very good that have never made it, as DeWitt goes to second baseman ERIN Hickey, who quickly underhands it to Vroman, and she goes out for the first out of the inning. Top half of 3. Hickey doing the job with the bat tonight as she'd been stifled early in the tournament, but she's come back strong tonight.
We have left-handed Brandy BEVANS up at the plate, and she'll be another slapper. probably a converted right-hander who will try and put the ball down. You have double leadoff hitters anymore in softball, and they bat in the 1 and 9 positions, and it makes it very hard defensively. You can no longer play slow-footed third baseman and slow-footed first baseman just for their bats, because the bunt has become so important, and defensing the bunt.
See her hands so far apart on that as she goes for the second attempt when she's 0-2. Let's see if she switches. She does, the other side of the plate. She's a center fielder.
Moline has a lot of players that go left and then go right.
Battersby strikes out her third batter.
That looked like one of those 62-mile-an-hour fastballs. There was some smoke on that pitch.
That catcher's mitt went smack, too. You could hear it pop all the way up here.
I'm sure 3 runs haven't hurt her at all. You can relax a little bit out there. You know, if you make one mistake, it's not the end of the world.
I think she was disappointed in herself for what she perceived as control troubles this afternoon, and she's come back very strong as that's fouled back by Katie BALLMAN. Katie went out on the bunt attempt early in the first inning.
Katie can fly. She may not be as fast as ERIN HICKEY, but she's close.
All out, I'm not sure it would be a fun race. They both do exactly what their coaches want them to do, and they're perfect leadoff hitters. And there she hits it strongly out to Amy Cookman, who makes a nice play on the liner, and they go down 1-2-3. Does Moline, still down 2 runs, and we're headed into the bottom half of 3. We have a pitching change now. Pitching for Moline is Sandy Littig, the sophomore, coming in for Julie Dusterhouse.
A tall girl, about a 6-footer, who had a very good season for Moline. She had a 2.09 ERA, struck out 62 batters in 80 innings, and was 10 wins and 3 losses coming into tournament play.
And she's facing the cleanup batter on this tough Morris lineup, Jen SIRON,
who has been a hitting machine in the tournament, and that's her thing. She studies hitting, she's interested in hitting, and she has gotten some hits tonight. She got the double that drove in the first run, I believe.
Well, right now is 3-0 as Littig trying to settle into her new role.
The toughest thing to do is be a relief pitcher, particularly if you're not used to it. Littig came in earlier this year, as we mentioned before, in the Elgin game when they were down 4-0, and Moline came back to win it, so I'm sure they're hoping they have the same turnaround tonight.
Bob Seitz has confidence in both his young ladies. Littig is throwing some heat here. She's got a very determined look on her face.
She's got good speed, throws the fastball. I haven't seen a changeup yet, and have not seen the out curve that Dusterhouse has, but she throws the ball very hard.
Full count, right over to Van Gotham, and she throws her out. She's been a busy lady over there at the hot corner of third. And she comes up just like she has all game, nice and clean, very quick.
Littig probably settling in now. Getting that first out is a big thing when you're coming in as a relief pitcher, particularly as a sophomore in front of a full house in the state tournament championship game.
Of course, in Moline area, she's played a lot of ball games before. Maybe not at the high school state tournament, but she's an experienced pitcher.
Coach Seitz talked with us before the game and said that one of the things that Moline has, that they're pitching rich due to ASA softball, summer softball, that helps develop these girls for high school.
And she's facing Amy Nelson, who went out pitcher to first in the first inning. Boy, she contacted that one, a line drive right out to DeClerc, who quickly brings it into BALLMAN and holds it to a single, but that was a solid hit for Amy Nelson.
What you saw was a flat rise ball right up in Amy's eyes.
And that's going to bring up right fielder Shelly Dickison.
There it is, right up high, right in the wheelhouse, as the baseball people say, and out into the left field area.
There's one out. You got a good look at how her eye contact with the ball. Down low, that ball gets away from Kaiser, and down to second base goes Nelson. So after singling, she quickly advances to second. And Littig in a little bit of a jam.
Moline seems to be at a time where, you know, whatever can go bad is right now, and it's something we haven't seen this whole tournament because they had a fairly easy time defensively, particularly with 2 shutouts.
LITTIG comes right back with a strike and evens the count at 1-1.
You know, a big girl like this, Ann, will develop even more, and she will be an awesome pitcher by the time she's a senior. It takes the tall girls just a little bit longer than the short pitchers.
Kept in front by Kaiser, but advancing anyway is the speedy Amy Nelson as she goes down to third.
Kaiser did what good catchers are supposed to do when the ball's thrown into the dirt. You sit on it, you lay in front of it, you do whatever you can to keep the ball in front of you and give yourself a fighting chance.
And she did that, but there was a lot of speed on second. That ball bounced around quite a bit. Shelly Dickison would like now to get a chance at an RBI. She can punch one somewhere with the pulled in infield. Count goes to 3-1.
This is Coach Mackinson's 15th year with the program, never in the state tournament.
Joe Thompson looked down at first base umpire Steve Johnson to see if the batter went around and says no. Bob Seitz looking on as he's hoping LITTIG can get out of this jam and they can go to work with the bats.
He's been here a lot, not just in softball, but he's coached football for 30 years and has retired from that, and he was also the assistant basketball coach this year on the Moline girls basketball team that was in the Elite 8.
The runners on the corners and 1 out, so we'll see what kind of strategy and see if the runner goes right on down to second base with everybody looking at Cookman to bunt.
I think she's going. Yes.
Down to second. They throw quickly down on this play that they use this time to the shortstop BALLMAN, who looks right over to third to see if she can catch Nelson off the bag, but does not. So we've got runners on second and third.
It's just real difficult to stop that runner from going to second.
Cookman with a chance for 2 RBIs if she can get a single off the bat, and she swings, and it's strike 2 after the first time of the bunt attempt. Looks down at Coach Mackinson and with some tips.
LITTIG's throwing the ball very hard, very hard.
The 1-2.
She struggles with her control a little bit on the rise ball. Throws it up and out a little bit of the strike zone, and Morris showing a lot of patience in making her pitch.
This would be a big out if LITTIG can get her. Bounced out to BALLMAN, who makes a nice play, looks at third, goes to first. Now the throw's coming home. There's a bat in the way, and there's a collision, but hanging on to it is Missy Kaiser, so we get the double play from short to first to home, and boy, that's got to help Moline as they get through a tough half of the third.
That's the defense we were talking about Moline playing throughout the tournament, and particularly BALLMAN and Driesens. They have made so many good plays in this tournament.
So after 3 complete innings and a nice half of an inning by Moline as Sandy LITTIG came in to pitch, and they'll come to bat in the top half of 4.
Here we see the batter on the last play where we got the double play. BALLMAN coming in, charging, not hesitating, getting the ball just as it's at the dirt, firing to first, and Driesens coming off, Stacy Driesens, and following through on her throw. The catcher was in good position to block the runner off the plate, so we didn't give the catcher much credit there, and Missy Kaiser did a good job also.
She sure did, and coming up to bat is Sheila Van Gotham, who's had an awful lot of business down at third base.
Yes, she's probably as good as anyone in this tournament at charging the bunt from third base. Battersby looks as calm and collected as ever.
She popped out to the shortstop in the first, so would like to get her bat in action. And Moline coming off a great defensive inning. They get something going here, top half of 4. A lot of times that momentum will carry right through, and Van Gotham is the first chance at it.
Well, Moline's had a lot of tough competition in the Big Six. They last year did not get to the tournament. East Moline got here, and they had a very tough game with East Moline in order to get here this year, so they've been here before.
A lot of teams when they get here, if they've cruised through something, well contacted high up between left and center, and taking it is Natalie Rosa, the center fielder, for out number 1. And you're right about that competition, Lloyd, because a lot of teams don't face a lot of adversity, and so they get first face it. It's very difficult, but that's not the case for Moline.
Well, the Western Big Six has put 2 teams in the state championship game, so I think that says a lot for their conference.
It's unusual, too, because there are 2 different classes, A and AA, in the same conference. As up to bat comes Diane Grau, the leading hitter on the team, but has had yet to have the extra base hit as she finally lets loose. And it bounces up against the fence. She had a little trouble running, and she's going to go into second looking for 3. She's going all the way, and she's going to be out at third trying for the extra base. She stumbled going around first, and I think that was a difference in the play as you look at the face of Diane Grau, who just cranked one over the right fielder's head that could have changed things dramatically for Moline.
ERIN Hickey made a great relay throw. Here we see the shot, and it was a shot. No doubt in the right fielder's mind that it was over her head. Picks it up, relays it to Hickey, takes a step, and then a great throw right on the money.
And again, blocked nicely off the base was Amy Nelson. So as the catcher did before, Amy Nelson did it third this time for Morris. And that brings up Missy Kaiser, the catcher we just spoke about, who blocked the plate at the end of the last inning. She flied out to the shortstop her first time up.
Battersby still throwing the ball hard.
Ball gets away from SIRON.
And the defense at third and left field still playing over towards the shortstop and center field side. They just have complete faith in Battersby and her speed.
Popped up. First baseman Roman snares it. And after the great hit by Grau, the wind went out of the sails, and they go down after the top half of the 4th. On 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left. We're going to the bottom of the 4th. Mineral Springs Park, and we'd like to remind you that the broadcast rights to this game have been granted to Sports Channel solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any reproduction or other use of this game without the consent of Sports Channel is prohibited. Well, we're going into bottom half of 4 of the 7-inning game as you see Sandy Littig, the relief pitcher for Moline, trying to keep it at 2 as she faces Lori Anderson, the designated hitter. Lori struck out in her first at-bat, but it was against Dusterhouse, so this is her first view of Littig.
Littig still coming right in there with good speed.
Anderson pops out, and is Van Gotham doing her usual vacuum job over there, and this time it's on the pop-up.
I think there's a tunnel leading to third base when Moline's out in the field.
Sure seems like it, as that brings up first baseman Amy Vroman.
And you're going to get a slap or a bunt here, probably.
Vroman was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning, so she's been on base her only appearance, and again, that was against a different pitcher. Left-handed first baseman. Another one of the fine students as she goes right back to Littig, who throws her out.
Littig had a little trouble with that throw, as do a lot of softball pitchers. It's just very difficult to throw the ball underhand for about 20 pitches and then all of a sudden have to go overhand. They don't make that transition in many cases.
Gets a smile out of her, though. I've seen some pitchers actually throw underhand to first.
Yes, or run the ball to first.
That's probably the safest. It brings up ERIN Hickey, who after having a tough quarter and semifinal has been 2 for 2 in this game, and it has been crucial for her team.
The big players come through in the big games, and she's definitely their big player up front.
It's hard to imagine a 700 batting average.
It's hard to imagine 68 stolen bases.
She's going to be making a trip, I believe, overseas this summer to play some softball, so there are going to be a lot of people get a chance to see her. John Mackinson, the coach of Morris, down there at third base, probably wishing this game would be over very quickly and end just the way it is.
He looks a little nervous.
Well, when you and I talked with him earlier, he was really choked up thinking about this team. It's probably one of those situations where you just have enjoyed the experience so much you just don't want it to end no matter what the result tonight is.
And it wasn't just their skill. He really likes these kids as people.
Hickey fouled that one off, and I think hit it on the knuckles as she did it. She's shaking that left hand. Counts 2 and 2. She looks down for the signal from her coach.
I think the hardest thing for a coach to do is say goodbye to people that you really have enjoyed being around and knowing that you won't work with them again.
Hickey goes right back to Littig, but the strong pitcher grabs it with the outstretched hand and flips it to first, and they go down 1, 2, 3, and bottom half of 4. So we played 4 complete, and it's still 2-0 Morris. There's also going to be a big game being played called a Super 60 Classic. Somebody's picked for the 60 top players in softball. It's set for Saturday, June 20th at Centennial Park, 93rd and Oak Park Avenue in Oak Lawn, sponsored by Chicago Tribune. Some of these players will be there. Semifinals are at 2 and consolation at 4, and the championship game as well. So come on out and see some more softball. It's not over. That'll be next Saturday night.
This is Tammy DeWitt. And she went into the game for Renee Blentlinger.
So this will be her first at-bat. Tammy came in to this game. Batting .333, and she just picks, doesn't seem to be hurting a bit with the bat as she quickly lines a single up the middle.
When you have a program like Moline, you don't just have 9 players on the field. You can go to your bench and get some pretty good productivity out of a lot of people. I think you'll see a flat rise ball here from Battersby, and exactly what it was, right up in her eyes, and it didn't climb at all until it was hit. Then it climbed a lot.
So leadoff batter is on. DeWitt is a junior, and the young lady she went in for, Blentlinger, had doubled, and she leads off a single. So that spot in the lineup's been very productive for Moline. And that is a key thing, a leadoff, as it brings up KARI DeClerc. DeClerc doesn't like it, but is called for the inside strike as she looks back and goes 0-2. Thought that was a little bit inside, but
Joe Thompson behind the plate, and I think he's been doing a very good job tonight.
he's an outstanding umpire, calls college games. These guys do an awful lot of games, and they've earned their way down here. Right back to the pitcher, decides to go to first and trying for the double play, but the speed of BEVANS does not allow that.
Battersby is an outstanding athlete. She fields her position well, she hits, she helps herself in a lot of ways.
DeClerc gets the fielder's choice, as thrown out is Tammy DeWitt at second. Right back up over Battersby, and safe goes Dreesen. I think the shortstop, Anderson, thought that Battersby was going to be able to pick it up, so she went over to cover second. All of a sudden it wasn't there, and she had to field the ball. So now we've got runners at first and second and a threat, and that's going to bring up Amy DeWitt, the designated hitter.
Anderson was going to cover second, and she just lifted her body up a little bit on that ground ball and fumbled it.
So down at second is DeClerc, and Dreesen's at first, and DeWitt at bat, Amy DeWitt. And right off of first baseman Vroman, who has trouble with it, but then uses her hand to tag while the glove had the ball and makes the heads-up play after having trouble with the shot off the wood of Amy DeWitt, who advances the runners to second and third.
We have Katie BALLMAN coming up, and of course, here we go on the ground ball to Vroman, and it looked like it was going to get away and didn't, and then she fumbled it, but had the presence of mind to fall down and get the base with her hand.
That was a huge out as the runners advance to second and third, bringing up BEVANS, and coming home on the pass ball. So far there's been no call of a foul ball. We're looking to see when that was a foul ball.
Jen SIRON thinks it's a foul ball, and she's asking.
And it is, says Joe Thompson. So hustling back is DeClerc. He really wanted to come home.
I thought Siren was a little nonchalant about going back for that ball. No wonder.
She's a very intense young lady and an outstanding catcher, so she knew what we did and it'd been tipped. 0-1 the count to Brandy Bevans, who struck out her first time up. Swings at strike 2. 2 runners in scoring position.
Bevans up and BALLMAN on deck.
And Moline, this is their best chance to score so far in the game as they're running out of innings in the top half of 5. Foul tip held on by Siren, and strikeout number 4 for Battersby.
That looked like about a 64-mile-an-hour fastball. She gave it all there.
Well, there were 2 hits, but nobody crossed the plate, and we'll be back with the bottom half of 5 right after this. Sandy Littig facing the top of the lineup.
This is a shortstop, KARI Anderson.
She's had a sacrifice and a base on balls in her 3 trips, and she lines one right up the middle, out of the reach of Katie BALLMAN, who left fielder Amy Cookman quickly gets it in, and there's a leadoff single for Morris.
And Battersby's up at the plate, a very good hitter, followed by Siren, their best hitter. Their best hitter, not average-wise, but for power.
So Morris mounting an attack already in the bottom of 5. Not content with 2, knowing this Moline team can come back at any time. Goes to bunt, pops it up, and it falls in front of Kaiser, who makes the heads-up play and gets the out, but Battersby does her job and advances the runner to second.
Jen Siren batted in the first run of the game with a double.
And then was out 3rd to 1st in the 3rd.
She has another chance for an RBI here, and Morris, of course, needs that. They need a little cushion. Outfield deep and straight away for Jen Siren, and they're going to walk her.
They don't want anything to do with her bat.
Well, it sets up a force out at every base with runners on 1st and 2nd, and it takes away the most powerful hitter, the person likely to get the extra base hit. Not a popular move with the Morris fans who boo, and Sandy Littig laughs.
There's a lot of dancing going out there by KARI Anderson, who's trying to distract everybody, but nobody's falling for it. Littig with a grin on her face. And there's ball 4, so Siren will go down to 1st, and we'll have runners at 1st and 2nd, and up to bat will be Amy Nelson, who singled her last time at bat.
And who would certainly like to get a hit, because there's no worse feeling than to see the batter in front walked because they want to pitch to you. And particularly a hitter as skilled as Amy Nelson.
She came into the game with a 286 average. She's a sophomore.
Not much strike zone there. Amy really crouches when she's at the plate.
And her pitch, Littig, goes right outside on her.
Moline pitches almost everyone outside, and it's been very effective.
A little bit of an off speed, goes high. 2-1.
The only problem with walking a batter, if you walk the next one, you have the bases loaded.
Great camera work to get the look on Littig's face as she prepares to pitch.
That was ball 3, but she swung. The umpires have done a great job of picking up that half-swing strike in this tournament.
And they've helped each other. They use teamwork also. They can look down. They've got a left and right field line umpires for this game, and that really helps. That ball right down the pipe, and the count evens up at 2-2. The bottom half of fifth, Class A championship game. I'm Ann Penstone along with Lori Ramsey, and we've got runners at first and second with only one out. Morris leading this game 2-0 and trying for more.
LITTIG has been in this situation before. They brought her in the sectional tournament against Elgin, and she came through.
Popped up, should be infield fly roll, and the batter is out. And Van Gotham does what she does so well, heads up play and looks right at the runner at second to make sure she doesn't advance because legally she can after tagging up.
Hands up, head down, drive it, let's go.
As you can see, the concentration level of Sandy LITTIG and her intensity are at their peak as she's throwing this pitch.
Two outs, and that swing by Dickison. That's Shelly Dickison, the right fielder. She scored one of the 2 runs today, and she has walked her last time at bat. So officially, she's 0 for 0. But she has been on the base paths. Ball is high and outside. LITTIG didn't like what she did with that. 1-1.
Catcher Kaiser setting up outside on every pitch. I think this is the way they're going to go with Dickison.
LITTIG done a nice job since she came in. Whoa, nice pitch.
Got the low outside corner, and they're going to stay on the corner. And Dickison stands quite a distance from the plate, so it's going to be a very difficult pitch for her to reach. She moved in a little closer now. She's thinking up there.
Might have heard you, Coach Ramsey.
I don't know.
That ball just outside.
Millimeters. Missed it by millimeters.
And it's tough to take that kind of a pitch, too, when you have 2 strikes on you. But she did, wisely looking at it, Shelly Dickison. LITTIG smiling, saying, darn, I thought I had her. Right back at LITTIG, and she throws her out. So there was 1 hit and 2 runners left on, and after 5 complete, it's still Morris, 2-0. Time is of the essence for Moline as we're in the top half of the 6th, and the leadoff batter, Katie BALLMAN, is at bat.
Katie BALLMAN's been one of their best hitters in this tournament, and they're at the top of the lineup. They have to get something out of their top batters this inning. They need runs. I would imagine Coach Seitz has told them to take until you get a strike, or be very sure if you swing that it is a strike. They're going to make Battersby work, I think.
It popped up and quickly in is Roman, but unable to make that play as it was just a lot out of her reach. So BALLMAN still has some life as the count goes 1-1.
You know, Ann, you talk about pitchers in this tournament, but defense is so crucial. The double play where Katie BALLMAN came in and threw the ball to Stacy Dreesen, saved some runs. The relay from ERIN HICKEY to third base to get the runner. It's not just pitching.
Whoa, Katie BALLMAN almost went for that. But 2-1 as it went way upstairs by Battersby. Now, when Battersby had trouble this afternoon, the ball started going real high on her.
And flat. And sometimes pitchers get tired in the later innings.
BALLMAN being very patient here as Seitz reassures her, and it's 3-1, so I'm sure she's been told to make sure this one's very good.
Patience is the key when you're behind this late. You just have to let the pitcher pitch, and that's exactly what she did.
Coach Bob Seitz, with his experience, gets Katie BALLMAN on first. Now this will be fun to see whether or not they decide to steal. Katie, one of their faster players, the leadoff hitter.
SIRON has an excellent arm.
It's Katie's first time on the base paths in this game, and that brings up Sheila Van Gotham, the third baseman, who's a very good contact hitter, has flied out 2 times, but the last one was a deep fly to the center fielder. Strike 1, Battersby comes right back.
Van Gotham got a big hit for them yesterday. Drove in 2 runs. She's now switched to the right side of the plate.
So forget the bunt. Probably. Maybe not. Sometimes they'll do this and drop it anyway. Morris still in for the possibility. Whoa, swings at the very high strike, and she's a little upset with herself.
I think when you're down 2 runs and you're with the top of your batting order, you almost have to let them go for it. These people are going to have to get the runs back from Moline.
0-2 in the off-speed pitch. Oh, caught Van Gotham as she strikes out, and the throw by Siren down to first almost catches BALLMAN off too far, but she dives back into first and cleans up a little bit.
Battersby has hardly thrown a changeup tonight, and now when it's in a crucial time right here, she throws one and she gets it over, and that's the crucial thing.
And that brings up Diane Grau, who just had a shot over the right fielder. It was a double, and trying to stretch it into 3 when she stumbled going around first, was out on the nice play by Hickey on the relay. And on that wild pitch, down to second base goes Katie BALLMAN. So in threatening position with their best hitter up, Moline's got to get something on the board here.
Battersby never changes expression, whether she throws a strike, a ball, things are going well for her or not. She has an excellent pitcher's temperament.
Fouled back, Grau on a nice level swing. Bob Seitz had talked about Grau not getting any extra base hits and figured she was due, and boy, she did hit one early.
She takes a big swing. She's going to get everything she's got up here.
She's a 400 hitter, plays right field. Took that strike as Battersby took a little something off of that one. She's changing her speeds now a little bit more.
And that's smart. And that indicates she also thinks either they're starting to time her or she's getting tired and not throwing her fastball quite as well.
There's Grau with the long one again. Doffing the cap is Shelly Dickison, making the grab and then advancing the runner over to third goes BALLMAN, but Dickison makes a nice run down of the Grau fly ball, and that's 2 down in the inning.
I think Morris must have scouted Moline very well because the right fielder was very deep and the left fielder was very shallow for a right-hander, and you kind of wonder about that, but that's exactly what happened.
With a runner at third, that brings up Missy Kaiser, the cleanup hitter, the catcher. She's popped up twice tonight, once to the first baseman and once to the shortstop.
You'd say she's due, I guess, and she's a very good hitter.
Now's the time to do it. Ball just gets a little bit away from Siren, keeps it in front of her. Moline down 2-0.
Morris still playing everyone to hit late off Battersby.
That ball gets away, but Siren again. Boy, BALLMAN is having to dive all over the place. She thought it was going to get by between Siren's legs, but she kept it in front of her, and BALLMAN has to scramble back and dive into third.
She can change directions on a dime. I guess that's what happens when you're short and you've got a low center of gravity.
Siren talking to Battersby with the mask off. It's her game to call, says Coach Mackinson.
And Coach Mackinson talked with us before the game and said he was going to put it in the kids' hands. He was not going to call. Those were his exact words.
Said the game is for the kids, and what a great attitude for a coach. They learn to make decisions here that they will use all their life. If someone tells them what to do all the time, it's very difficult, and decision-making such a crucial part of growing up. That bounced high over to Anderson, who throws low, but picked up by Amy Vroman on the nice dig out, says first base umpire Steve Johnson, and the threat is stopped in the top half of the 6th.
Here we'll see the ground ball to Anderson, and she's got the tough play where you've got to charge the ball and throw on the move. She doesn't quite follow through, and first baseman Amy Vroman got it in the web. You see the snow cone there, but she definitely had it.
Great camera work and some of the concession stand action in this beautiful park here in Pekin, Illinois. It's just probably the softball capital of the Midwest. This grounds crew does a fantastic job of keeping this. It's just beautiful. And there's a lake out to this side of us and some paddle boats and lots of things for people to do.
It's definitely a family park with softball as the center.
Well, Morris up to bat, and that's Amy Cookman. 0 for 1 tonight. And
Littig's really bringing the ball now. She's settled down, has a lot of confidence now, throwing strikes.
She actually throws similarly to Gina Hugo, the pitcher from Orland Park Sandburg, where she's a tall, rangy pitcher, a strong young lady, and hits her hip as she comes through.
Right. She doesn't throw the ball yet quite as hard as Hugo, who was, I think, an exceptional pitcher, even though she didn't win. But Littig is a girl who's only a sophomore and will get nothing but better.
That ball gets by Kaiser, but no damage, nobody there. So many teams that you're not seeing actually got down here, and Sandburg was certainly one of them. An outstanding 8-inning game against Moline, and for them, unfortunately, they ended up on the short end of a 2-0 score.
But certainly a Final Four team in ability.
Absolutely, and down swinging goes Cookman as Littig gets a strikeout.
Littig is an indication of good things to come from Moline in future years.
They have such a strong tradition, and she's one of them. And that area, as we know, the pitcher for Rock Island Alleman who won was only a sophomore, so a lot of youth in the area.
I think Littig throws the ball a little harder than Corey Clear, but Clear throws more movement, particularly with that rise ball that just rockets up there.
We're going to get a pinch hitter coming in from Morris. Appears to be Amy Benson, number 43, and she'll be batting for Lori Anderson.
I think this is the first time Benson's appeared in this tournament.
Benson is a senior. What a nice gesture by Mackinson to get as many people involved in this game and bring the senior into the park, and she's got a job to do. Benson's a 300 hitter, so you get an idea of the depth of these teams.
She took a good swing there. She's got a closed stance, holds the bat in an upright position. Moline playing her deep and straight away.
Littig to Kaiser, tries the off-speed, comes outside.
Threw a little bit of an off-speed out curve there.
Kind of fell away from it.
Right. Got her side through.
That ball went down in a hurry, and Benson looks at strike 3. She still can't quite believe it as Littig is mowing him down here in the bottom half of 6, and she is throwing some smoke. The later it's gotten, the more confident she's gotten, and the harder she seems to be throwing.
I think she's relaxed. It's very difficult to come off the bench in a state championship game when you think you're going to watch it and all of a sudden you're out in a world of trouble.
Well, Amy Vroman up to bat right now. 0 for 2. She was hit by a pitch and got as far as 3rd, batting in the 9th or the 2nd leadoff spot for Coach Mackinson and Morris, and that's a called strike. 1-1.
Amy made that nice scoop on the throw from shortstop Kari Anderson to end the inning.
Makes contact, just foul down the 3rd base line. 1-2.
The Moline crowd quiet and the Morris crowd quiet. They've been fairly noisy in this game and very sportsmanlike.
Morris even had the wave going for a while. 1-2 to Vroman. Takes a little bit off, chops it out in front of the place. Kaiser up with it quickly and throws her out. So Morris goes down 1-2-3 in the bottom half of 6, and coming up for what could be last bets is Moline.
There's a picture of Shar Bremberg, Assistant Executive Director, who will be retiring this August. She was a student at Illinois State when I was, and always very interested in sports, has done a terrific job of promoting all girls sports for the state of Illinois, and particularly softball. She's been here for about 15 of the 17 years helping to direct these tournaments, and we've not had a hitch.
We wish her a healthy and happy retirement. We'll miss her, but I know she'll be around watching the action whenever she's in town. There's some of the great fans. That's the Morris side with the gold. Both teams are wearing maroon. So Morris showed up in their gold t-shirts to distinguish themselves from the Moline Maroons, who are wearing mostly white and maroon. The full house here at Mineral Springs Park. Class A state championship game, and we're into the nitty-gritty here. It's the top half of 7. Moline down 2-0. And to start it off will be Tammy DeWitt, who came in for the injured Renee Blentlinger and promptly smacked a single.
A line shot to center field.
Over a 300 hitter. She's a junior. And she'd like to do just what she did back in the 5th. The ball is a little high and outside.
Joy Battersby walked 7 batters in the semifinal game this afternoon and got out of all of the situations. She's a very confident pitcher.
I'll tell you what, DeWitt is just making Bob Seitz look like a genius. Takes her in and promptly she hits 2 hits and does it so confidently. That's what junior comes in, and she's the leadoff hitter is on.
Miss Super Sub. Another high pitch just where the last one was, and she hit it to exactly the same spot, center field.
Natalie Rosa, the center fielder from Morris, making the good play, keeping it front and holding it to a single. Natalie's a sophomore out there. And we're going to get a pinch runner.
Jessica Anselmi will be running. Jessica Anselmi for Tammy DeWitt.
So we've got some speed out there. And coming to bat will be KARI DeClerc, who got on in a fielder's choice in the 5th. Bob Seitz makes sure that home plate umpire Joe Thompson knows exactly what he's done.
Again, this is a situation where the batters have to be careful not to help Battersby out by chasing a bad pitch. They need 2 runs, not 1. It's not really a bunt situation.
And you've got a pinch runner in who you've got to make sure was warmed up and ready to go. Don't know if she'll be asked to steal or not. Siron not been asked to mow anybody down on the throw to second so far in this game, but she's very capable. Tries the change up. Siron looks her back.
One reason I think they haven't run on Siron is they've seen her throw earlier in the tournament.
And of course she throws down every half inning. Fouled back and away by DeClerc. 1-2 the count. The Moline fans on the first base side cheering on Jenny Anselmi.
Bob Seitz keeps a running conversation going on with his hitters here, telling them what to do in this situation.
And that ball is hit into the gap as Rosa tries for it. It goes by her and by Shelly Dixon. Coming around is Anselmi. There she's being waved on and over to third with a stand-up triple as they have all year. DeClerc with the big shot as Rosa made the attempt, and Moline fans are going crazy.
This is what you call a seeing eye triple. It's not exactly a screaming shot. It just got in between the center fielder and the right fielder and bounced around and then rolled.
And all of a sudden, everybody in the park is up and yelling.
John Mackinson out talking with his pitcher and his infield right now. I think you'll see on this swing that the ball was not hit on the line. It was actually in front of the center field. It was a seeing eye triple, and one reason it was a triple was because of the speed of the runner. And Anselmi was in almost before the ball hit the ground.
Well, you can see the smile on the face of Jessica Anselmi as she came home with the first run for Moline, and at third base you see Bob Seitz talking with KARI DeClerc, who got that RBI triple. And Bob Seitz, who put in DeWitt earlier for the injured Blentlinger, has made another substitution. Number 37, Trish Charbonneau, is going to bat for Stacy Dreesens. Now Charbonneau is a sophomore and a .341 hitter. And she doesn't appear too very nervous about this whole thing.
She looked up at the stands and laughed.
Well, she's getting a lot of cheering going on from her side, and the tying run is down at third, and there's nobody out.
I think those are some of her buddies up there yelling at her.
Well, we talked about Battersby getting herself out of several jams in the semifinal. She's in a big one right now.
And they're going to have to earn it against her because she's not going to give in to them. She's still confident, and I think she's going to be a good pitcher in this crisis.
That ball is high, and you can see the infielders are playing in front of all the bases, so it's very tight to try to keep that run from coming home. Charbonneau fouls that one off.
Battersby throwing the ball very hard. She's gone to her fastball. I don't think she's going to worry about rise, drop, or change up. I think she's going to say, here it is, hit it if you can, and throw it as hard as she can.
That ball over the pulled-in infield goes in for a hit. Charbonneau comes with a big RBI, and we are all tied up at the top of 7 as Chris Charbonneau kneels down. And I guess you could say she was loose and ready.
Bob Seitz looks like Houdini with the substitutions he's made. Tammy DeWitt got the first hit, and Charbonneau got the hit that drove in the tying run. And Selmy went around the bases like a track star in the previous one. As we can see here, Battersby threw the ball up, and Charbonneau just barely touched it, but it was one of those wedge shots into right field that are so hard to field.
Even if the infield had been playing back, I doubt very much that would have been caught.
That was another seeing eye hit.
Sometimes it's just meant to be one way or the other. And Charbonneau getting a big hand after doing a great job as a pinch hitter.
And a big hug from the coaching staff also.
And that's going to bring up Amy DeWitt. And there's still nobody out. Bunt and touched foul by Amy Nelson. I think Stacy Dreesens came back in for Charbonneau to run, so she's the runner at first base. She's the first baseman, and of course she needs to re-enter. Now they've got to play some defense.
A lot of defense. And now we're in the sacrifice situation where one run will do it.
That ball is popped up on the attempted bunt.
The hardest thing in coaching the bunt situation is to get the batter to stay in the box and get the bunt down and not worry about herself. And we've got a little case here where we're running out of the box as we bunt.
Amy DeWitt goes back to the left side. Two strikes on her, and she still looks to bunt and fouls it out, so she'll be out bunting. And that's the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Brandy Bevans, the center fielder, who's been a strikeout victim twice.
Jenny Malacote will be substituted for Brandy Bevans. Malacote's a senior, an outfielder.
Malacote for Bevans.
Came into the tournament hitting .254.
So a lot of seniors getting to see some important action. Charbonneau just came through for Coach Bob Seitz. Let's see what Jenny Malacote can do. Batting in the number 9 spot for Bevans.
We're seeing if he can do this 3 times in a row now.
He already does a lot of clinics, but he'll be writing a book if this keeps up. On a close play down there, Hickey made the nice block off of the plate, but Dreesens gets back on the throw by Siron. Mackinson wants to make sure everybody's all together.
That was sure a bang-bang play.
Good throw by Siron. Coach Mackinson's questioning something. He's asking the home plate umpire, Joe Thompson, for a conference. I'm not quite sure what it's about.
The Moline fans not too happy about this delay.
Well, what he's asking is the home plate umpire to ask the first base ump, and the signal safe was given, but we're not real sure what the issue was, since he did make the call of the throw down there as she safely got back in. He's having a conference anyway with first base umpire Steve Johnson.
He's discussing it. He's not irate about it or anything. Here we see the play as SIRON comes out and makes the throw. Awfully close. We really can't tell from that picture whether she had her or not, but it was an awfully close play.
But we can tell for sure that there was a clearly indicated safe signal as that bunt is put down by Malakote and thrown out, but advancing what could be the lead run down to second in the person of Stacy Greasons.
And here comes to the plate Miss Clutch, Katie BALLMAN. If I were a pitcher, she would not be one of the Moline batters that I would want to see up there. Not only can she hit, she can run, so she puts a lot of pressure on your infielders to make the play when she puts the ball on the ground.
BALLMAN 0 for 2 tonight, but she's going to make you play it, as Lori said. And she'd like to put it in play right now with what could be the go-ahead run. We're in the top half of the 7th, and both of Moline's runs have come in this inning. Ball going down and taking the bad hop, and Hickey makes the great play, but a lot of damage was done. There were 3 base hits, and there were 2 runs, and we're all tied up going into bottom half of 7. Tonight, be sure to catch the Sports Channel report for the latest sports news. That'll be at 10:30 p.m. Bob Seitz talking to Joe Thompson, and he's looking like a real genius right now, Lori.
Not just with the hitters, and his pinch hitters are 2 for 3, but with his pitching change, Sandy Littig has settled down, and Moline has settled down with her, and she's kept them in the ball game waiting for a break, and they got a little bit of a break on that triple when the right fielder didn't angle back for the ball. She went directly across, and that's something you teach your outfielders when you're backing up or you're going for a ball in the outfield, to angle on it.
Well, it's not over yet, as the top of the lineup for Morris comes back, and you want drama. This is it. We're all tied up, state championship game, and your leadoff hitter hitting 700 comes up to bat. She's 2 for 3 tonight, and she's never been in a more crucial situation this year.
I wouldn't think so. 768 stolen bases. I would say that's as big an offensive threat as you can get at the plate.
That last batter you saw was KARI Anderson, who's on deck and would love to move her around if Hickey can do what she's done all night, and that's get on base. They've only gotten rid of her once, and they are way in expecting the bunt.
And the outfield's very shallow also.
She puts it down, and it's a great one, and she is safe. That was a magnificent bunt right down the line, and you can see where Hickey causes all kinds of stress to opposing defense people.
She sure knows how to deaden that bunt. Her bunt goes out there and stops. She's spent hours practicing this skill. She's off and running, and there's no way you're going to get her on this play.
Greasons fielded it cleanly, but just the speed of Hickey with those 68 stolen bases and the record, you can see why. Now, this will be interesting to see if she steals or Anderson puts it down. It's high.
Might have been a pitch out. They might be seeing whether she's going to run or bunt. You've got the option of bunting here, but you've got the option of letting her steal and then using the bunt to move her to third.
We've got to hope that bunt goes down beautifully, picked up by Greasons and thrown overhead. That ball's going out to its right fielder, coming around. There's still going to be a play at the plate, and she is out. Oh my gosh. I don't think I want to figure out who threw what to who, but the result of it is that the heads-up play by Missy Kaiser backhanding the throw. There was a tag out at the plate.
Missy Kaiser
There's
was
it out.
sitting on the ground and backhanded the throw perfectly to the pitcher covering the plate, and that is amazing. Here we have the first baseman not following through. The ball bounces around out there. Right fielder now making the throw. Gets through the catcher. Oh, Littig fell down and backhanded it. Kaiser was still at the plate. The pitcher did that. And you know, one of the hard things in coaching is getting your pitcher to constantly back up the plate and back it up far enough away that you can pick up the ball. Most pitchers back the plate up too closely, and then the ball goes by the catcher and by them too. But Littig was back where she should be and made a great throw to the plate.
ERIN Hickey, when the throw initially came home and she didn't, she saw it coming in, and she saw it get away, she basically started halfway down the line, then turned around and went all the way back, and then it got away for sure, so she came back again. That's the fastest player in the team, making 2 attempts to come home, and the second one didn't work.
Well, I think Coach Mackinson stopped her the first time, and then she went on.
Well, back to live action. We've still got a runner at third, and it's the winning run in the person of KARI Anderson as Littig faces the pitcher, Joy Battersby.
First pitch was down, and I think they'll try and stay down so she can't hit the long fly. Down again. The problem with this is the infield's in so shallow. If you hit it to either side of the infield with any speed on it at all, it's through.
Well, Battersby in a position to win her own ball game right now, facing Littig. Contact, but fouled away. She did the heads-up thing and made the motion to first, so in case it was...
A lot of tension in the stands. The Morris crowd all standing, anticipating the base hit. Littig's going to not anticipate a base hit. She's going to anticipate throwing that ball low.
Well, the key thing is for Battersby to make contact and make them play the ball, so at least she can have a chance of getting on or bringing home the run. She makes contact, but fouled.
Littig ahead now, 2 strikes and 1 ball in the count. She can be a little more selective in what she gives Battersby.
Anderson on third, wanting to come that 60 feet home toward a state championship. It's 60 feet.
She's going to try and stay down and stay low so she doesn't get that fly ball.
And that was a great pitch by Littig. Went way outside as that called pitch by Kaiser. Littig put it right where the catcher was sitting. A huge strikeout on Battersby, who is a great contact hitter, and that's going to bring up SIRON.
And that's going to bring Bob Seitz out of the dugout. And the question is, do you walk a hitter like this that's had so much success? And I think they might do that. They're moving the first baseman in on a non-bunter, and that's to cover the plate in case the throw gets away from the catcher.
He's put up 4 fingers, which obviously meant give her 4 balls and get her out of here on the way to first base. And that means they've done this to her before, and it looks like they're going to face Amy Nelson.
SIRON ready at the plate in case Littig throws the ball in there by accident. And that's one thing you have to be as a hitter, ready in case that pitcher makes a mistake.
Well, she'd like to. You can just see her hanging over, seeing if she could reach anything.
Amy Nelson's been in this situation before, and I bet in games other than this game too. They walked SIRON last time also, I believe.
That's correct, Lori. So 2 intentional walks to SIRON, and she's just going to look right away and make them play. What a heads-up play by SIRON. She didn't even hesitate, and Littig was just standing around. It probably would have happened on the next pitch anyway, but that was heads up by SIRON.
Another example of the intelligence of this Morris team. Coach Seitz talking with his pitcher and catcher.
Where SIRON is hoping that they'd make a play on her, and in the meantime, KARI Anderson would come home with the winning run. But Amy Nelson's going to be the batter of choice right now, with 2 outs, bottom of 7, and a chance to RBI in the winning run.
They may not give her too much to hit either. She's had good success in this game, and they've got first base open, and that means nothing. 1 run is all that counts.
Kaiser's in position to catch, and again, they're looking at the outside. Ooh, that was a beautiful pitch. Littig just tough.
That might be the best pitch she'll see. That was down the middle.
I'm kind of surprised because Coach Mackinson doesn't like his pitchers or his hitters to take too much, and you got to figure Littig's going to put that one down.
Now I think she's going to have to hit Littig's low out. Oh, they're going high on her.
And inside, move her back a little bit, so they're really moving that target around as the count goes to 1-1.
Probably go low and out on this next pitch again. One advantage they have now, though, the infield's back. They have a chance to cut down a lot.
It's like they're going inside to try to jam her. And she bounces it over! And that's going to be the ball game as Amy Nelson, after they pitched around Siren, comes through with the game-winning RBI and the hard bouncer in front of the plate and over the third baseman, Sheila Van Gotham. Talk about pressure and coming through. What a fantastic game. Morris and Moline both out in the field as the fans are going wild, hugging each other.
This was one of the best championship games that I've seen in my 17 years here, and I'm sure the fans feel that too. Two great teams that played right down to the end. Nelson beat that ball into the ground, and Van Gotham was in enough that it got over her head.
Well, the rained-out game in May is played tonight, and it was a fantastic ball game, and it's really a shame anybody had to lose this ball game. Coach Bob Seitz and his Moline Maroons as they line up to shake hands through the line, and Coach Mackinson in his first trip to state makes it one he will treasure forever, not just because of the win, but because about how he feels about these girls.
And I think they must feel that way about him. Nelson high jumped into his arms. She must have been 4 feet off the ground. And you're looking at the Cinderella team of the tournament, not one that really got much advanced publicity.
They had a hard route, but your champion is Morris in Class AA softball. With the look of champions on their faces, we'll be back right after this.
In 17 years, Ann, I've never seen a better state championship game, and the sportsmanship matched it.
The state runners-up for 1992, the Moline Maroons, Class AA. And the new state champions in their first appearance, Morris. Special thanks to H. David Fry, Executive Director of the IHSA, Don Robinson, Associate Executive Director, and Charlene Bremberg, retiring, and we wish her the very best. The next IHSA event on Sports Channel will be the Class A Boys Baseball State Championship, tonight at 7. Producer Director Jan Thompson. Executive Producer Greg Bowman. Graphics producer Jeff Stenton. Remote facilities were provided by Trio Video of Chicago. Once again, your final was Morris 3, Moline 2. For Lori Ramsey, I'm Ann Penstone. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of Sports Channel.